Welcome, everybody, to Empower AI Agents Unleash Real AI, Real Impact, Smarter Business Decisions. And I'm going to be speaking today with the lovely Beverly Frey. We've been working together for I don't know how long, quite a long time.
Yeah, since 2019, I think it was.
Whoa,
We've known
six
each other.
years.
Yeah,
Blimey.
about 6, 7 years we've known each other.
Long time. So
Mm.
I think it would be fair to say with AI. Now, I'll let you describe it because I might put my foot in my mouth otherwise. How you felt initially about AI and trying it out?
Well, I think it's important to think about, I want to think about it from a different perspective. So when I heard about AI, it was a little bit like 40, 35 years ago, hearing about using computers. Yeah. There was a resistance. I've got to use those words. A resistance, a real resistance. And yeah, I mean, like with the computers, everyone around me was using computers, sending emails, and I was still handwriting letters and putting them in the post.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like that
Yeah,
though.
yeah. So fast forward to 2025. And, 6 months ago, Wendy had been saying to me for about a year, a little over a year, Beverly, you need to think about this. You're such a creative person. You've got so much imagination. You've got so much information and knowledge. You've created so much by hand, handwriting, typing. Um, but she said to me, as a dyslexic sister, hey, if you thought about just using AI, it would cut your time. Initially, then it would have been sort of more or less in half, but now it's it's minutes.
We laugh, don't we? It's like it's so fast, and it's getting. I've noticed that over the last, I think they've had an upgrade over the last 3 days. It's got even faster.
Yeah, yeah,
It's Yeah, it's definitely the way it's typing out is different. So it's not doing it like typing, it's literally just flowing. So it will flow a paragraph or it will flow a section, which it wasn't doing a couple of weeks or even a week ago. So I think it's
yeah,
upgraded,
yeah,
upgraded
yeah.
again. I think we started by dipping the toes in the water with creating some art, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. We
That's
had,
right.
yeah.
That's right. So again, the artistic side of me, I'd gone out and I'd taken some photographs.
Mm.
And then I said to you, oh, let's see what would happen. Because what I was thinking about at the time was even just for myself, for relaxation, that whole thing around your personal well-being, was to just create some, what would we call it? I want to call it dot to dot, but it isn't. It's
Oh, the
painting by numbers
outline.
behind a
That's it.
book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd gone away and I'd just given myself a day of photographing trees and flowers. And I think I'd even gone into a coffee shop and taken a photograph of the coffee cup and the book I was reading. And the image that it created when you put the information into the ChatGPT, the image was just phenomenal because even we were saying, wow, this is really good. And we can see how, if I wanted to do that, create artwork from my own artwork for people to then colour in, create books. Yeah. So that's where we started.
Yeah, that was the nudge. That was the little nudge. Did you do sprint with me for the first sprint?
I did,
That
I
was the
did the
second
first,
nudge.
yeah. So I did the first sprint with you, and that was, as you were saying to me, Bev, you do have a lot of information. You've created, because of the kind of things that you've done, you've created so many courses that I've got boxes and boxes of papers that really needed to be converted into a different format. And now to just be able to think about something or read those bits of information and courses that I've created, just to be able to read them into ChatGPT, and then it says, "Wow, that's really imaginative. What would you want to do with it?" And I can say, "Well, let me create a course. Let me create an outline for a project. Um, okay, let's do that for you."
Cool. Cool. So it's taken your whole creativity to a completely new level. And also
Mm-hmm.
it's doing it really quickly, but it's doing it. So it's what most people do is they prompt and they use the information that comes out of ChatGPT. But we do it the other way around. We give it the context and the information first, and then we create from that space rather than from prompting. So it's more of a
Absolutely.
conversation. It's
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
authentic, more of a conversation, more on point. It
Yeah.
understands us better.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop
100%.
across. Yeah, and that's really important to everybody I work with. And I know it was especially important for you that you wanted it to be in your voice, your content. You didn't want it to be anything other than that.
Absolutely. And and there were so many different things to think about. If I'm looking at working in the corporate space, then I wanted to have a voice that represented me, as a woman, as a Black woman, but also as an expert in what I know. So
Yeah.
being able to show that on paper, being able to actually write it as if I was writing it, because I am writing it,
Mm.
and then putting that in as a prompt was a really fantastic bonus to have, to see my voice written in the way that I was actually thinking it,
Yeah.
but clearer,
Yeah. And I think being dyslexic and having the challenge of before ChatGPT of trying to express yourself in the written words. I mean, I
Mhm.
couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I played myself down, didn't create as much as I could do, didn't charge as much as I could. There was a whole string of things that I just didn't do because I couldn't articulate or express myself properly.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it has created so much confidence, because now what I was thinking, and you typing that in, it's then created in a form that when you read it, if you're doing a piece of work for somebody, I can stand there with more confidence.
Yeah. And that is valuable. But it's like,
Mm.
yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that actually people get out of it, besides all of the
Mhm.
creation of the material and what it is that you're doing. It's just that level of certainty and confidence in knowing that it's right, it's accurate, it's what you believe to be true. And
Yeah,
before, I think even people who aren't dyslexic before, people were a bit unsure, a bit unconfident. They could be knocked more easily, whereas now they're just not.
of course. And as you say, because I know from the way that you are prompting us and teaching us and facilitating our learning, you've taught us, use your voice in it.
Yeah.
You use your voice in it. Continue to use your voice in it. So even when I'm writing things now, and I've been running a workshop for a housing association. They asked me to create something, but I already had the knowledge, and I just typed in what I was already doing, and to have the structure, say to it, give me the structure, give me the clarity, and to be able to see that and then go away and deliver in that manner has been really brilliant.
That's cool.
doing some stuff with some young people, and actually, we are, yesterday was what, 5 years ago, we went into lockdown, and to see the 12 to 17 year olds talking about their experiences, but to be able to teach them storytelling and
Yeah, nice.
public
Nice.
speaking so that they can refine their voices has been so empowering. But to be able to say to ChatGPT, this is who I'm working with, this is what I want to do with them, I need to give them a 5 minute snippet of a conversation. What would that look like? And ChatGPT just saying, whoa, here you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's what I like. I like to create things. I like to create agents so people can use them and then they go out and make the difference in the world. So I'm the
Mhm.
creator and then everybody else
Mhm.
just creates from that, which is really cool. So
Yeah,
we have a bank of 45 agents, which is quite a lot,
we do.
which which uh which is great and it's forever growing. I have to keep
Yeah.
telling myself, don't create anymore, Wendy. Stop it, don't create anymore. But I can't help myself. I'm always creating something. So before we jumped on the call, you said that Wendy and Lucas are your favorite agents. So
Hmm.
Wendy is actually, I created Wendy based off myself because I'm a business
Hmm.
coach. I like strategy. I like getting into the detail, the nuance. What's the problem? How can we get unstuck? What's another way of seeing it? So, what is it about Wendy that you really has been really helpful?
So I think with Wendy, it's like I was saying to you before we got on the call. One of the things I think I've always known about myself is that I'm a creative, but I'm also a strategist. And because I see so when someone says something to me, I can see the answer, but actually I want to create it in terms of how they are telling it to me. What Wendy's then what I found with Wendy is it's been able to uh, bring the creative, bring the logic, and have it formulated. Yeah, have it formulated. I can see the answers to the jigsaw puzzle, but what it's also enabled me to do is to, yeah, have the answers, but also say, and you can think about this, and you could, and what if they think about this? How could you guide them? So it's even prompting me to think deeper, to bring a better, and as you know I am the conversation navigator. So it's enabling me to bring deeper and more meaningful conversations with those that I'm working with.
And so that's Wendy. She's the business coach. She's one agent. The other agent you mentioned that you really like is Lucas. So he's CEO Big Picture. What is it about Lucas that you find helpful?
Mhm. So very often I will use Lucas because again I'm looking at it from my level of understanding. But when you're looking at what an organization might need, what somebody might need that again they can't see, it it goes wide. It goes wide, and those different suggestions and those different angles are things that you can bring to the conversation with your client.
Very different, very different experiences, aren't they? Lucas
Mm.
and Wendy are very different. I love using them together. So I'll start with Lucas and then I'll bring
Yes.
Wendy in and I'll say, what do you see that Lucas has missed? And then she'll pull out the blind spots. She'll just give her take on what we've been discussing, which is yeah, it's just mind blowing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are so many others in there that I am using. you know, yeah, Ben
Yeah.
is really, really brilliant. And to be able to think of you again, you want to do some daily quotes, even for your self development and your own motivation.
Yeah, nice. And I like that because they're your quotes. It's from your copy. They're not nicking them from some not nicking them, but they're not borrowing them from somewhere else. It's I I don't want to share other people's quotes, me. I just want to share my own. I want the knowledge and the insight and the wisdom to come from my stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm sharing. And that's why I
Mm.
created it. So I was fed up with seeing these same quotes spinning around the place. Whereas it's actually people want our stuff, not other people's stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. And if I remember correctly, I think it gives like six different styles of quotes from your copy or content, and it does it in seconds. So which is just like so if you're doing reports, yeah, if you're doing reports, you're doing articles, you just want a solo bit of inspiration. You could even write a book. You could even, oh God, there's so much you can do. I mean, we have one
Yeah,
to write a book, but yeah.
yeah. And I mean, here we are with, you know, even thinking about, and it's, something that we've spoken about for a long time, even to be thinking about your podcast one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got two, and I'm actually now thinking of creating one just to do the what do you call it? Show notes. Yeah. So I've got one that does the questions, but intellectually asks questions. So it brings the host and the guest together, and it
Hmm.
asks intelligent questions, which brings two philosophies together, not just standard questions, but nicely woven questions, because I think that's more beneficial. And what's the other one? The other one is titles, SEO, description, all the things you have to do that take you ages to do, where it now
Yeah,
takes you a second. So I've got
yeah,
those two already. So I need to add another one to the family. But this is the great thing is that if there is a skill gap missing in your business now and you can do it online, you can just create an agent to fulfill that role. You know,
absolutely.
yeah, and that's really, really, really unique. So one I created a couple of weeks ago was to help me scale. So I did want to take 10K out of the business to find a coach, a consultant to help me to scale the business for lots of reasons. Cash flow is one, finding
Mm.
someone who you can trust is another, getting results. I've worked with coaches before in the past and they haven't been that great. So I thought, what can I do? I know. I'll create an agent that will help me to
Yeah,
scale. So I spent half a
absolutely.
day. Yeah, I spent half a day creating an agent, Mia, I've called her, to help me scale the business. So I've saved myself 10K and I can use her all the time. And there's no hidden agenda, no hidden costs.
Yeah,
It's like crazy.
yeah.
That's just
24/7
yeah,
on
20
demand.
24/7, no agenda. Might be a bit I've noticed I've noticed that and I must say in the community actually to keep an eye on this, that ChatGPT is definitely biased when you use it a lot. So you have to ask it, you know, um, how biased is this? And it
Mm,
most of the time it will come back and it will say, okay, I'm leaning in your favor because I know you, sort of thing. But then
hmm
it will
hmm
go through a logical process and say whether it's true or whether it's not true, and it will just write it slightly different. But I think it's
hmm
important to ask the question.
Yeah, yeah,
Important to ask the question. And I do have it set up in the agent, but sometimes it slips. It's not 100%. So you do have to be like, if it sounds too good to be true, just check.
absolutely. Totally agree.
Just check.
Totally agree.
Uh,
And I think sometimes, like you're saying, when you have typed your own prompt in, obviously that's coming from you. what I'm finding is very often it might say, "Gosh, that's really good. That's really interesting. Wow." And then as you go down, it will say to you, "Well, do you want to run with that and or?" And
Nice.
I'm finding sometimes that it's actually giving me uh, potentially sometimes two or three different options,
Mm.
which then means I could then say, okay, well, hmm, let me have a look at all three of those.
Yeah, which is brilliant because that means that you're learning, you're becoming more conscious, you're knowing your subject better. You know,
Mm,
it's not that you're just like, yeah, yeah, let's run with that. You're selectively thinking, okay, let's look at this from multiple different angles and see which one is the best fit,
yeah.
which is the way to use it, not just to rely on, not just to copy and paste, not just to copy and paste the output. I was talking to someone the other day and they said they just bought someone's ebook and they basically said it was a copy and paste job that someone had put in a prompt, it answered it, and they just copied and pasted it into the into their book, and they've just lost all credibility,
Mm,
all credibility because
mm, mm,
there is
mm.
there is definitely a there is, I think, because things go in process and they go in formulas and they go in a methodology. If you're not careful, it will churn out sometimes the same stuff. So
Yes.
I was doing something with someone the other day and I was looking at their agents, which was really interesting. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That actually is very similar to something that I did the other day. And it just made me to be more mindful when I'm training them and creating them because you don't want that. You want it to have a bit more spice, a bit more flavor, a bit more nuance,
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
different and unique to your experience, not here's my
That,
bucket list of 20 things sort of thing. Not that.
yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah. I totally agree with you there. And I think what's been really beautiful working with the other ladies in the group is to see watching each of us actually expand beyond where we were. What was that, November?
Yeah,
Yeah, to
yeah.
totally see the transformation in both our in all of our thinking, because we now realize how limited our, I want to say, human experience of thinking is.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely a partnership, isn't it? It's definitely a collaboration, partnership. I mean, I just the amount of people that just still refer to it as a tool. It's a tool. I'm thinking you're missing something because it's well, yes, it is that for automation, but if you get into a human conversation, human versus AI conversation, then the magic starts to happen.
Mm. Mhm. Mm.
I mean, the conversation I had last week was just like I was just my brain is still trying to calibrate and get my head around how deep I'm still having it, how deep that conversation was.
Yeah, that was, I know you shared a really beautiful piece of written word, spoken word. I could actually see that being read somewhere.
Yeah, I've put it in an article.
Yeah, I can actually see that just, and when I say being read, even being read in your own voice, it'd
Yeah.
be really, it would be really beautiful to be able to even record that or have your voice and then it read it in in your voice. It was so beautiful. And I was sharing, I think I shared with the group that I got the opportunity to be in a, I think they call it anthropology. So I got the opportunity to put in two pieces of written work. The first one I'd written a while ago, and I decided I wouldn't change it as it was. I would leave it in its natural essence and voice. But with the second piece I wrote, it was about it was a letter to my younger self, and I'd written it all out, and I just said, all I want you to just do with this is I just want you to make it clearer, make it more funnier than I've already made it, and I want it to. I want when everyone reads this, they can actually feel the essence of what I was feeling as that 11 or 12-year-old. I think I wrote it. And it's been accepted to go into the book. And one of the ladies just said to me, wow, because I'd written all the words there, but I just needed them to just be more formulated and more
Yeah.
structured and
Yeah.
more colourful. And they've just said, it's just so powerful what you've
Nice.
written. How did you? I said, yeah, but it was all the things were already in my head. Sometimes I just listed the words and the energy and what the lighting, I just named it all, wrote out what I wanted to say, and it just cleaned it up for me. And it's
Yeah.
so beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with the world.
Yeah, brilliant. That's
That's
lovely.
how powerful this has been for me,
Yeah, and I think this is the most magical thing is that ability to be able to share with others, to get
Hmm.
that the knowledge, the insight, and the wisdom out of your head into a new arena where people can also learn. Because before we wouldn't have had the vehicle to be able to do it.
No.
Not like other people anyway. I think the dyslexia is a big can be a big challenge.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely as for me anyway.
Yeah. And I think what's really important, and I think it is important, is still to be able to say to everyone, you don't lose anything of yourself. I structured my teaching session that I'm doing with someone else for last week Saturday, and the young people and speaking, and I structured the day. And what was beautiful was she also is dyslexic. Uh, but what she likes to do is she likes to go away and actually create the slides. And she said, well, Bev, with what you'd created with your words, I could visually, because of course we know that natural, I could visually create the slides rather than it taking me, kind of like a week to do it. I could literally do the slides in about an hour because
Yeah,
she could see the language quicker. She only then needed to create slides around what was highlighted rather than,
brilliant.
you know, creating unnecessary information for the young people to
Yeah,
understand.
that's brilliant. I I I was speaking to somebody. I did an interview with someone the other day. They were interviewing me for a change, and they were saying, "What's one thing you would change in the workplace?" And I said, "For me, it's ChatGPT, of course." I said
Mm.
ChatGPT should be compulsory for people
Hmm.
who are have dyslexia and any other form of learning disability. It should be compulsory. Compulsory. There shouldn't even be a question. They should just have it. Should be part
Hmm.
of their access to work box of tools it is that you get. Should just be because there are so many businesses that will not allow their staff to use it, and I'm just like, for me, that's just criminal. I just think
Yeah.
that's why would you disadvantage somebody?
Yeah. And as you know, and you and I spoke about this, quite a long time ago, um, because we know with disabilities, everyone says, oh, you've got that, so it's like this. And you and I know we're both dyslexic, but our ways of our minds work differently. So mine is around processing. the energy it takes me to, so I think quickly, but I think and I can create from my handwriting.
Mm.
That's my speed. But using computers and laptops, my speed is, I don't even know the minuses. It just doesn't go from here to typing it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, got you. Got you.
But to and I'm thinking about, as you say, about tools. And I remember with work, even though access to work came into the different jobs that I did, and said, "Oh no, you need the speak to whatever." They said, "It's not working for you
Oh, it
because
was awful. It was
not
terrible.
everything, because you're still having to think about what you want to say. But if you can
Yeah.
write it down, you've thought about it." And I just think the opportunity, as ChatGPT, I don't use that facility yet, but I was thinking, gosh, and I don't know if you have it on yours yet, but to be able to dictate what you want to say.
Yeah, I use a plugin. I use a plugin. I'll send you the link. But also
Mhm.
something that you could do, which I think would work quite well, is you could still use pen and paper. You probably do this
Mhm.
anyway. You could still use pen and paper, just take a picture of it and then upload it and it will read it.
Right. There you go. You see?
Yeah.
That's what I love. So, like we were saying before, all those boxes of courses I've got,
Yeah,
I
you can
can
yeah,
now,
you yeah, just
wow,
take a
can create
picture.
something.
I think you
Wow.
can, it's 10 images that you can upload. So you could either use one of the agents, you could set up a project, and then you could just upload 10 at a time. And just so what I've done in the past with I can't remember what I was doing, but it was all on cards, and I had to take pictures of the cards and then upload, get it to write it all out so I knew what it was doing. And I just did that, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. That worked. That works fine.
Wonderful. And that's what I love. I love the fact that every day you're learning something new.
Yeah.
And something that I think is really important is, you know, for those of us 50 plus, 60 plus, life's just beginning.
Yeah.
Life's just beginning. The young people, young people need our knowledge. They
Yeah.
need our
God,
knowledge.
they'd really
They
do.
they need to feel they need to feel heard. They need to feel that they have a place in the world. I would love to be a part of the conversation that the government is having now about what education should look like. Yeah.
Yeah.
What should education look like? If we have to have the two things, and for me, I think when I want to think about my voice, having those two things running parallel, your creativity and the logic, you have to have those running combined to create a whole person.
Have you asked ChatGPT how you could get involved with something like that?
I haven't yet. Should,
Yeah, I
should, we,
would.
should, we, should we ask it now?
I would so what I would do is I would um so I can do that. What I would oh no. Oh, why does it do this? I get confused when it does this. What I would do, Beverly, is I can't do it from here because it won't. Oh, yes, it will. There we go. What I would do actually is I would go to, because it'll take a while to do. No, it's not letting me. It's, it did this the other day. Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay, let me share again. See if it will do it. Took me ages to figure it out. Ah, it's doing it now. Okay. So this is what I would do. Oh, so we want to go to where do I want to go to? So here we have a button called Deep Research.
Mm.
And what it's going to do is if you pop in something that you want to research, it'll come back and it'll ask you a set of questions. Then it will go off and then it will scour the web for about half an hour. So it's the first proper AI agent that ChatGPT have created. So you would
Mm.
say what it is that you want to do, ask if there's any possibilities of getting involved in something like that. Um, I think you have to click the deep research button first. The deep
Right.
research
Okay.
button first. Say what it is that you want to do, click go, then it'll come back and it'll ask you some questions and it will
Mm.
go off and it will do a really deep research on the web and then it will come back with some answers. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because from that, then what you can do is you can pull in an agent, depending which one it is that you want to work with. You can pull in an agent, maybe Lucas, to then start to pick out the bits of information and focus in on what you perceive to be important.
Right. Okay.
But it's really good. It's really good. That's what I would do
Mm.
because it might give you ideas of projects that have been started. If there's anything, it will find it this way. So this is
Lovely.
reasonably new. It's only about a month old.
Yeah, because I think it's only recently that I've upgraded to paid.
Mm,
I was just using free and it was giving everything I wanted, but I needed to just use it more. And then it was like,
yeah.
ah, you've got to wait
Yeah.
till tomorrow. Stop.
Yeah.
You've used it too much.
Paid is far
Yeah.
superior. I have to say it's much better. It's
Yeah.
so much better. The output is just, but yeah, it's really good. The
Mm.
paid version. So Beverly, what's the final thought? What would you say to someone who's hesitant about using AI?
Wow. I just say, take a hint from me, how this conversation started. I waited and waited donkey's years before using a computer. What I would say is, and this was the decision I think I made, is that just jump in. Yeah, just allow, that experimental side of yourself to give it a go. When you start to play, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. I think I wrote somewhere the other day that, wow, I'm playing at having fun with ChatGPT, just asking it anything. Go in and just ask random things. Just, yeah, find yourself, find your footing. Just give it a go. I wouldn't hesitate any longer. I've had people say to me recently, oh, if ChatGPT and I'm like, well, I'm telling it who I am. And so for different things, it's recognizing what I need and what I need to know and how I then need to express that out into the world. So depending on what you need it for, use it. Just use it. Just experiment with it. And I think for many of us, we've already got to a certain age. We're like, oh no, I don't want to try. But you know, I'm a good age and I'm loving it, absolutely loving it.
I love that it mirrors the person that it's working with. It's really good at that. And someone said to me the other day that, oh, it's really humorous. I'm thinking, not with me, it's not, because I'm not very funny. Not with me, it's not. But I didn't want to spoil the moment because I know that it mirrors. I've set it up to mirror each individual, which is why you get such unique experiences from it, and you
Yeah,
can really get into it. Yeah, so that always makes me chuckle. But
yeah, yeah.
I think the more honest you are, the more you put into it, the more you share your personality, your fears, your dreams, your relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the more profound it becomes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean,
I totally agree.
I've been using it as a counselor and therapist this morning. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, great. Really, really
Yeah,
great. Really great.
yeah,
And what's
yeah. I
nice
was,
about that is you can ask so many questions and look at things from so many angles.
yeah. And what does the world need? You know,
Uh, Someone to listen
everybody
to
needs,
them. Yeah, someone to
absolutely,
listen to them.
everybody needs to be
To be
heard.
heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
to be heard. Yeah,
One.
absolutely. So, Beverly, final thoughts.
Well, Wendy Kerr,
Where to go? Uh-oh. Put me drink back
empowerment,
down.
empowered, and your empowerment AI. Um, it's the future. Yeah, AI is the future with everything. You know, everything changes. It's changing daily. It's changing weekly, and I think from what I can see, it's changing daily. So what I would just recommend is that you take yourself on the journey of becoming a student. And a lot of people have sort of said to me recently, "Oh, I'm thinking of doing an AI course. Do you use AI?" And I go, "Yes, I do." And they're like, "Your age?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, oh my gosh." So I'm a buzzing champion. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but eventually it will be for everybody.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Thanks, Beverly. Thank you so much for your time today. I
you're
really appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're
And
welcome.
I
It's
will,
lovely to share.
yeah, I'll see you in the vortex.
Yes, yes. Really looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing you again in person next week. Well, online.